The diner was nearly empty that cold winter morning. Outside, snowflakes drifted lazily through the gray sky, coating the sidewalks in a blanket of white. Inside, the warm hum of the coffee machine and the faint chatter of a radio were the only sounds breaking the silence. Behind the counter stood Lily, a young waitress in her mid-20s, her uniform slightly wrinkled, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. Lily had been working at the diner for 3 years, ever since her mother's health declined and the bills began piling up. The pay wasn't much, but it kept food on the table and the lights on in their tiny apartment. Each day she greeted customers with a smile, even when she was exhausted, even when her heart ached with worry. She had learned to hide her struggles behind kindness because in her eyes, kindness was the one thing she could give freely. That morning, the bell above the door jingled softly. An old man stepped inside, brushing snow from his worn coat. His shoes were scuffed, his scarf frayed, and his movements slow. He looked tired in a way that went beyond age, as though life itself had weighed heavily on his shoulders. "Good morning," Lily said warmly, picking up a menu. "Table for one?" The man nodded and followed her to a corner booth. He sat down slowly, his hands trembling slightly as he placed them on the table. Lily noticed his eyes, pale and distant, filled with a quiet sadness. "What can I get you to drink?" she asked. "Just a coffee," he replied, his voice low. "Black," she smiled gently. "Coming right up." As Lily poured the coffee, she overheard 2 other waitresses whispering. "He comes here sometimes," one said. "Never orders much." "Probably broke," Lily frowned. She didn't like when people judged so quickly. Everyone had a story, and no one knew what battles another person might be fighting. She carried the coffee to his table, setting it down carefully. "Here you go. It'll warm you up." The man looked at her, surprised by her kindness. "Thank you," he said softly. Lily nodded and turned to leave, but as she passed the register, she glanced back. The man reached into his pocket, fumbling for something, then sighed deeply. His hand came up empty. He didn't have the money for even the small cup of coffee he had ordered. Without hesitation, Lily walked to the register, slipped a few dollars from her own tips, and quietly marked the coffee as paid. She knew what it was like to be short on money. She knew the shame that came with it. She didn't want him to feel that. When she returned to check on him, the man looked nervous, almost embarrassed. "Miss," he began, I'm afraid I might not." "It's taken care of," Lily interrupted gently. "Don't worry about it. Just enjoy your coffee." The old man stared at her, his eyes widening slightly. For a long moment he didn't speak. Then slowly a smile spread across his face, small but genuine. "You're very kind," he whispered. Lily shrugged, brushing it off. Everyone deserves a warm cup of coffee on a cold day. The man sat quietly for a while, sipping slowly, watching her move from table to table. He noticed how she treated every customer with patience, even the rude ones. He noticed how she smiled, even when her shoulders slumped from fatigue. And something stirred within him, something he hadn't felt in years. What Lily didn't know was that this man wasn't just any old customer. His name was William Hawthorne, a billionaire known in financial circles but invisible to the ordinary world. His wealth was hidden beneath layers of companies, trusts, and anonymity. Years ago, after losing his wife, he had withdrawn from society. His days were spent wandering, observing, searching for something he couldn't name. Money had bought him everything, except genuine human kindness. That morning, in a tiny diner, a waitress had given it to him freely. When William left, he said nothing more. He simply tipped his hat and walked back into the snowy streets. Lily thought nothing of it. To her, it was just another day, another small act of kindness. But for William, it was the beginning of something life-changing. The next week, he returned. This time, he ordered breakfast. Though his clothes were just as worn, his demeanor just as humble. Again, Lily greeted him with warmth, chatting lightly as she refilled his coffee. Again, she noticed him watching her as though memorizing every gesture, every smile. Over the following weeks, William came often. Sometimes he sat quietly. Sometimes he asked Lily questions about her day, about her family, about her dreams. She answered honestly, never guessing who he really was. She told him about her mother's illness, about the struggle to pay rent, about how she sometimes skipped meals so her mom wouldn't have to. But she also spoke of hope, of wanting to study nursing one day, of believing that kindness mattered even when life was cruel. William listened intently, his heart aching with every word. He had spent decades surrounded by wealth, yet here was a young woman with nothing, who still gave more than most people he knew. She had given him coffee when he couldn't pay, but more than that, she had given him faith. One snowy evening after the diner closed, Lily stepped outside to head home. She was surprised to see William waiting by the door. "Lily," he said softly, "may I walk you home?" She hesitated, then nodded. They walked together through the quiet streets, their breath visible in the cold night air. "You remind me of someone," William said after a while. "My late wife. She believed in kindness the way you do. She always said the smallest act could change a life." Lily smiled faintly. "She sounds wonderful." "She was," he whispered, his eyes glistening. When they reached her building, Lily turned to him. "Thank you for walking me. Stay warm, okay?" William nodded. "Thank you, Lily. More than you know." That night, he made a decision. A week later, the diner buzzed with whispers as a fleet of sleek cars pulled up outside. Men in suits entered, followed by photographers. And then, to everyone's shock, William Hawthorne walked in, not in his old coat but in a tailored suit, his presence commanding the room. The same man they thought was poor, invisible, suddenly revealed as one of the richest men in the country. Lily froze behind the counter, her heart racing. "Mr. Hawthorne?" she whispered. He smiled at her, the same gentle smile she'd seen before. "Hello, Lily." The entire diner fell silent as he approached her. "You once paid for my coffee," he said, his voice steady. "You treated me with kindness when you thought I had nothing to give. But the truth is I had everything, and nothing at the same time. That day you gave me something money could never buy. You reminded me what humanity looks like." Tears welled in Lily's eyes as he continued. "I've been searching for someone like you. Someone who gives without expecting. And now I'd like to give back." He handed her an envelope. Inside was a scholarship fully paid for nursing school, a fund to cover her mother's medical expenses, and enough money to secure her family's future. Lily's hands trembled. I can't accept this." "Yes, you can," William interrupted gently, "because you already gave me the greatest gift. Hope." The diner erupted in applause, but Lily barely heard it. All she could see was the old man who once sat quietly with a trembling hand around a coffee cup, now revealed as a billionaire who had chosen her, her kindness, her humanity, as something worth investing in. From that day forward, Lily's life changed. She went on to study nursing, caring for others with the same compassion she had shown William. Her mother's health improved with proper treatment. And in time, Lily and William formed a bond like family, united not by money, but by the simple act of a waitress paying for a stranger's coffee. Because sometimes, the smallest gesture can reveal the biggest miracles, and sometimes the person you least expect turns out to be the one who changes your life forever.